The 11-year-old whose untimely passing shook the very foundations of Guyana was tragically confirmed to have perished by drowning. Yet instead of bringing solace, a storm of unrest swept through the nation. From the bustling streets of Guyana, a wave of fury and sorrow surged forth, demanding answers that seemed to slip through grasping fingers. Police precincts found themselves encircled by impassioned crowds. Hospitals overflowed with the tears and pleas of protesters. Emotions reached a fever pitch. Even the skies bore witness to the turmoil, as a commercial flight altered its course away from the troubled land, a stark indicator of the escalating turmoil and the dark shadows looming over the nation's once pristine image and thriving tourism sector. In the midst of this chaos, a haunting question lingers in the air. Was this report the truth? And even if it's the truth, why do the cries for justice only grow louder? Is this uprising merely a quest for accountability, or does it stem from a well of distrust and suffering that runs far deeper than any can fathom? When faith in the system falters, even the cold, hard facts can feel like a betrayal. The future remains shrouded in uncertainty. Can Guyana mend its fractured soul, or has the divide between justice and retribution already been breached? Let's dive into the story.
Good morning, my darlings. Happy Wednesday. I am just here to bring you an update on the Adrianna, or Adrianna as some may refer to her as. I am just here to bring you an update on her story. Let me just refresh your memory. Adrianna Younge is the young lady who was allegedly drowned at a pool in Guyana, and because of what happened and how the situation was handled, there is now an unrest in Guyana. And the parents flew in pathologists. I think the government, the reigning government, flew in pathologists chosen by the parents from overseas. They were not trusting the local pathologists, and so they flew in their own pathologists to do whatever it is that they need to do so that they can let the public know if this young lady was drowned or if there was some sort of foul play in her. Now here is the autopsy report, and I'm just going to read a few things here after what happened. First of all, they had the parents of the young lady, and I'm saying young lady because, as we know, YouTube does not like the word, but an 11-year-old is not a young lady. We all know what she is, but I have to choose my words carefully to avoid being censored by YouTube, so please understand that, okay? Now, the person they chose to deliver the message to the public was the attorney, or one of the attorneys of the parents, and this guy seemed so nervous. I couldn't understand why. He was literally shaking, like he was afraid to, read the reports to the public. He was afraid.
Good evening, members of the media. Permit me to apologize to you for this late start. I literally just came out of a zone. I saw many of you there, so you could understand and appreciate the circumstances. As you are aware, today the body of Adrianna Younge Adrianna Younge was examined. Initially, X-rays were done, CT scan was also done. The pathologists, three pathologists we had, Dr. Gary Collins, Dr. Paul, and Dr. Rodder are the three doctors who carry out this operation or the examination today. Based on the findings, they determined that she drowned. I witnessed the post-mortem examination. Another doctor, Dr. Caleb McLaurin, who is also the family doctor for the deceased witnesses, and one Karen Pereira, the family nurse, also witnessed the post-mortem. We had the police officers there, and also the persons from our local morgue in the room. The examination started on or about 1:15 and ended approximately, let us say, 5 o'clock, 17 hours this afternoon. Thank you. I believe that is a synopsis of what transpired. So, any questions from the media?
The lines are open. You know, use the hand signal sign. Raise your hand, then we recognize your hand, and then you ask the question. And if you're from the media, you will tell us exactly which media house you're representing. So, the lines are now open. We have Svetlana Marshall. Go ahead,
Svetlana Marshall from News Source. Mr. Wade, could you say if the pathologist explained the reasons for the marks on her body? And yeah, that's the first question.
Yes, they had a meeting with the family and they explained it appears to be, according to them, in relation to, it's consistent with damage that may be caused by the water.
Mr. Wade, I'm not hearing.
You cannot hear me?
Response. I was unable to hear your intro. And I'm unable to hear the response to my question.
The technicians are addressing it. I'm very sorry. As you were aware, I'm not a technician. I'm just trying to feed some information here to you and the members of the public. All right, I'm asking the technician to look at it. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now, and we weren't able to hear you initially when you started speaking.
No, well, I apologize for the late start, and I indicated the reason for the late start. I should also apologize for Dr. Collins, who had indicated that he would have been here today, but because of the circumstances of this afternoon, coming out of a war, we were in a building locked up. The media was there. You see what was transpiring. The building was being hit. We don't know by what. Adrianna's mom was there. Every time it happened, she was being startled. Every time the building hit, and every time she heard it. It was very terrifying for several of us who were locked in a building. That is what I was explaining. Well, so what is your question, please, Svetlana? Can you restate your question, please?
Sorry, I was asking about whether there was any indication of there being on her body, and was there an explanation given for the dark spots on her face, her hands, and her feet, for example?
Based on the determination and based upon the findings of the pathologist, there were no broken bones. They could not have determined whether or not any injuries to her body. Inflicted injuries to her body.
I know you said that there was drowning. They expressed the possibility that she could have drowned somewhere else other than the pool. Was there any indication, maybe, did they say to test the water found in her system to compare whether that had the chemicals associated with a pool versus regular water from a tap? Anything of the sort? Was that?
At this stage, what I understand is that they would have been unable to determine that whether or not she drowned in the pool or there were no.
I'm so sorry, but I'm not hearing you again.
Yes, yeah, please don't interfere with it. Good. They were unable to determine that, or matter of fact, at this stage, they would have been unable to determine whether it was a tap water or a pool water and so forth. No determinations were made in relation to where she drowned, where the drowning took place. No determination were made in relation to that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, good, thanks, good. Any for
some persons are still not hearing you.
But if you are hearing me, and some is not hearing, then there may be some problem on their end because you're hearing me.
Okay.
Anybody else with a question?
Being about it with culture news, I raised my hand, but I did not get a signal to go ahead. But I'm not sure still. Could you explain the reason, or is there a reason for the discoloration on her skin?
That, based upon my understanding and what was explained to the family, these are not my words. They are consistent with water damage.
Also, there were suspicions that there was cotton wool stuffed up her nose. Could you confirm that this is indeed so?
Well, when the pathologist examined the body at that stage, there were no cotton wool. They did not observe cotton at that stage.
What's next for the family now that you've said she died by a drowning?
Well, the family continue to press the state of Guyana, the government of Guyana, for an independent and impartial investigation. We all are aware, His Excellency said that no stone will be left unturned. They will support the family and what have you. However, based upon our knowledge, there have been no effort or move. And I believe it is critical at this point in time for the family and for the entire country that the state acts, that the president just don't talk and that he deliver based upon that promise for the family. And the family has asked, they have mentioned, the mother have asked for the FBI. I, in a letter, have asked for the Scotland Yard, the FBI, or the Royal Mountain Branch of Canada Police. So it's important for an impartial and proper investigation to be done.
Mr. Wade, perhaps finally from me for now. The way in which the body was discovered, sort of like in a standing position rather than floating on top of the water, was there any explanation given for that as well? Because
I recall,
well, there is people believe that when a body drowns, it surfaces completely, but was there any explanation for how the body was found positioned in the water?
I recall that question being asked, and there's some sort of discussion in relation to it, but I am not in a position, quite frankly, to address that particular question.
Could you, based on what you just said, could we rule out at this time?
That was not the job of the pathologist. And if you follow what I have just said, it is imperative and important for an impartial and proper investigation to be done. We have a case here where the police failed to cordon off the place. We have a situation where the police failed to act. So that is a question I believe more or less should be directed to the police. The pathologists, that's not their job. The pathologists determine a finding, and it's for the police to investigate.
I know that finally, but sir,
yes, please.
Given that no determination was made regarding the metal that went into this child's body, could there be possible investigations carried out after this process?
For what, may I ask?
Test the water to ensure that it has the same chemicals that were inside of the pool.
One, I am not sure whether or not the water that is found in the lungs is the water from the pool or what have you. I can't say that. I cannot say whether or not that will be able to bear a result to show it's a different water from the fuel from the body or from the pool or from a different location. I cannot give a response in relation to that question.
No, I understand that.
Yes.
Just seconds, madam. But what I'm asking is, given that this determination has been made in that regard, will you as the family's lawyer push for that to happen, just to ensure that perhaps we can rule out murder for in this case?
I am not sure whether at this stage it is plausible, but what we could do, as I mentioned, generally, it is called for a proper investigation, and it is, I believe, one of the things is that the body was there so long, the FBI, probably FBI, the Scotland Yard, or somebody with specialty, more or less, should have been, invited at this stage to address those questions that you have.
Mr. Wade, could you say what was the time of death given? And also, could you say if the police spoke for the 3 pathologists in the absence of the attorneys and the family before the post-mortem examination was conducted?
Okay. So there was a meeting with the police and the pathologist. I sat in that meeting.
Will
Could you say if you were sexually assaulted? Any observation with regards to that?
Pardon me? The question I didn't hear. I didn't hear you. I did not hear you.
I'm asking about whether there were any evidence to suggest that she was sexually.
No. All of that was done and no finding of such. All of that was
Will
done.
the pathologist be issuing an official report?
I believe that to conclude a duty, I suspect that is the only conclusion.
And it appears that they didn't, I don't know why the pathologists didn't, were not the ones to, tell the public what happens or tell the public about their findings.
The pathologists, they were prepared to meet with the media, to talk and so forth. But unfortunately, what transpired this afternoon, anybody in such circumstances can't act.
It appears that the pathologists were also afraid as well, and I will show clips later on as to why they were so afraid for their lives. So let's get into it. The autopsy report confirms that 11-year-old Adrianna Younge died by drowning. Okay? Wow. The independent pathologist who was chosen by 11-year-old Adrianna Younge's family members has determined that she died by drowning. Now, following the local reports came out, samples have also been sent overseas for further confirmation. So said the police. We all know that the police is corrupt, so we do not know what to believe. Now, here is what the public is saying. This is no result to me. This is no results to me. According to her father, Mr. Younge, revealing that his family was told that his daughter died by drowning, but they refused to accept the results. Now, the people of Guyana, a lot, I'm not saying all, they refuse to accept the results. They're not accepting it. They don't care. They're not accepting it. Even though these were independent pathologists that they flew in from overseas at the expense of the government. The announcement was made by the child's father during the transfer of her body, where tensions quickly rose. Protesters who were already in heated standoff with the police officials of Guyana were seen shouting in anger and frustration as this news was shared. The father was seen crying in frustration and seemed helpless as the residents sympathized with him. This new development into the incident has sparked more calls for answers and justice, with locals standing in solidarity with the Younge's family. So it's not over. It is not over. They are not accepting the pathologist's report, even though these people flew in from away. And when I saw this guy coming in, the pathologist coming in, he was like shaking, literally, like scared, like, oh my God, like this is a person who has dealt with dead bodies over and over, who is not afraid of dead bodies. But this man was literally shaking, like trembling, and he has his little bag like this, and he's walking, and he's scared, and they're just pushing him through at the police station. I don't know if this was after or if it was before, but it was a scary situation. It appears that this man was saying, why the heck did I accept this job? I should not have accepted this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Get me on the first flight smoking out of Guyana. He was fearful for his life. I am going to leave the clip right here for you guys to see and tell me what you think of this man coming in. This is the pathologist. This is the pathologist. And it was, I think, 3 of them from 3 different areas. Just so there's no cross-contamination or whatever, you know?
Up the step. We're going up the step. Just fix. We don't want to do nothing. We don't want to do anything. Nothing we don't want to do it. Take your time, baby girl. Take your time. Take your time, you got your own thing. Up the step. We're going up the step. Just fix. We don't want to do nothing. We don't want to do anything. Nothing we don't want to do it. Take your time, baby girl. Take your time. Take your time, you got your own thing.
Of, you know, whatever. But the family is still saying that their daughter was, you know, they're not accepting what the pathologist said. Many people were asking questions about, okay, can you tell us if she was drowned in the pool or outside of the pool? It's apparent that the pathologist could not make that determination or differentiation. They also wanted to know if there was any assault involved, and they said that she was not assaulted, but at the same time they said that her body was not in the condition for them to make certain decisions whether or not she was hurt. So I'm not understanding. If her body was too decomposed, how could they determine whether or not she was assaulted? I don't know. The attorney was asked about the pathologist's report in regards to the marks that were on her body when she was found floating in the pool, and after she was pulled out, you know, people noticed that there were marks all over her body, and it was mentioned that this was caused by the drowning in the pool. The scrapes on her knees and all of that was caused by the drowning in the pool. They were also asked about the cotton that was found in the nostrils. Now, the attorney could not answer that because he said, you know, no cotton was found in her nostrils. However, I went and I did some sort of research because when I asked that question as well from someone, let's see if I can find that research. Okay, so I did a little research to see if, you know, there anything that could look like cotton in the nostrils when you drown, you know, and I found that there can be a cotton-like fiber that is in the nostrils, and it's mostly foam or froth, and this can be a result of water mixing with the air in the airways. Okay, so perhaps this is what the father saw when he pulled his daughter out of the pool. Now, if there was cotton, shouldn't the investigators there have this as some sort of evidence? If you Google about drowning and what happens to the nostrils and what happens to the body, and even see pictures of, you know, what happens, I can't post the pictures here, but there's a white froth that is around here, you know, on some of the victims, after some of the drowning victims. So perhaps at the time when the father saw that, it was a shock to him, and he assumed that this was some sort of cotton. Of course, all of the inside of her nostrils would be white. So this is why he probably saying that it was some sort of cotton ball. But if it's a cotton ball, shouldn't the investigators have that? Where is it? Where did it disappear to? This is just not making sense to me. Now, a lot of people came for me in my previous video when I said there is a possibility that this young lady drowned for real. There is a possibility. We can't rule that out completely, honestly. But I do understand that, and I think people are going to come for me, you know, for me saying that you know, in this video, but I don't care. Y'all don't have to unsubscribe because I say that either. I have my own opinion. But I can understand why people are frustrated. I can understand why these people are upset because similar incident happened at the very same pool. And I can also understand that the owners didn't allow them to do thorough check of the pool at a reasonable time. Okay, so I completely understand why you guys had to burn down the hotel. Yeah, jungle justice, and I, you know, certain things I'm going to agree with. You know, in that sense, yes, they were wrong for that, and they deserve what they got. You know, I have no qualm saying, hey, they deserve what they got. Okay. Listen, don't get me wrong. It is obvious that the owners of that hotel, they were negligent, and they should be held responsible for what happened to Adrianna Younge. It is completely unfair that they had no security guard, they had no lifeguard, they had no one at the hotel at home to help her. So whether or not if this was a natural drowning, they should be held responsible for negligence. They should. So please don't get me wrong to think that I'm not siding with the family and say, hey, fight for justice. Continue to fight for justice. But wrecking the country, infrastructure, is not the answer. It is not the answer. I don't know, guys. But hold the owners of that hotel responsible. They should not get away scot-free like they did in 2012 when the same thing happened to that other young man. Okay? Hold them responsible. They should get jail time. Don't allow them to get away. Well, if you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess, to get justice. But I don't know if breaking up the country, ruining the tourism and all of that, if that's going to get the results that you want. But I'm going to say, do what you have to do. I'm not there, I'm not Guyanese, I'm not on the ground. Do what you have to do. But the owner should be held responsible. I agree with that 100%, whether this young lady drowned naturally or not. The owners should get jail time. Lots of jail time. Don't allow them to get away scot-free like they did in 2012. That's all I have to say. But now a lot of things has been happening after this pathologist report came out. It has gotten worse in Guyana. Georgetown is on fire, guys. There is unrest in Guyana. Planes were diverted to Trinidad and other places because they can't land in Guyana.
American Airlines flight AA1513 from Miami to Guyana has left passengers seeing all colors except those of the airline. Passengers told this newscast that they felt disrespected and insulted by the callous disregard the airline paid them. The aircraft, en route to Guyana, diverted to Trinidad Piarco's airport last night. There was no warning nor explanation to the passengers on board.
If you are traveling to Guyana, due to the unrest, lots of flights, they are not going into the country. Call your airlines, check in with your airlines. American airline flight 1513 is currently in Trinidad and Tobago. It was not able to go to Guyana last night. Call the airlines. Many airlines right now, flights are not going to Guyana.
Because of what's happening. And people are in fear of their lives right now in Guyana. The hospital was under siege. Imagine, I'm going to leave clips here of the hospital being under siege. Cops outside. I don't know who else was fired, but it was under siege.
For fear of our safety, we cannot venture to give you a better angle of what is going on here. For fear of safety. But this is absolutely crazy. The protesters have cleared out from in front of the hospital. The police are now, they are now down into the street. This is crazy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. store. I cannot confirm.
It was crazy. Crazy. There's a lot of looting going on. A lot of stores being burnt down. I saw a Chinese store, Asian supermarket being burnt.
This is a Chinese-owned supermarket at Seafield Sapphire. Clearly, you can see what transpired here last evening. This is in Seafield Sapphire, a Chinese-owned supermarket. Broken into. As we speak, persons are still inside of the building. Let's go around this area. This is in Seafield Sapphire, Chinese-owned supermarket. This vehicle that was parked here was set on fire. There's still some activity.
Much. This just happened. Looting like a mother Scott. At the finale.
A lot of looting. People are just using this as an excuse to do things that they probably wanted to do a long time ago. I don't think this is just about Adrianna Younge. I do not think so. Because if you go back in time, you know, people have been frustrated a long time ago. There is an interview that I am going to leave here where it has been said that there's a lot of corruption from the upper heads in Guyana. A lot of corruption. And people are taking bribes, you know, underneath the table for certain things, especially for the Chinese coming into Guyana. And I leave the clip here for you guys to listen to how this government official was trying to dodge questions from an international reporter who was doubling down on him, saying there's a lot of corruption, you're taking bribe underneath the table, giving these Chinese, you know, business, whatever, license to set up shop all over Guyana, while your, you know, people there, the locals, people who wants to start their business are getting a hard time. But there are Chinese coming into these countries and they're setting up shops and they're doing whatever they want to do. They're taking over these countries.
The darker you are, the lower you are on the index. The developed countries hardly ever get on this index. And they have more institutional corruption, in my view.
What about within your government? Do you accept bribes?
No, I don't.
You know, we've spoken to a number of Chinese business people in Guyana who said that you do accept bribes, and they have said that in fact it's the only way to get business done.
Yeah, well, I can't comment on that. You can just sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Zhurong?
Su? Oh, so my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, that he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't.
Do you use middlemen like Sue in order to take money on your behalf so that you can keep your hands clean?
No. The answer is no.
We met with a manager from a Chinese state-run corporation who confirmed that they use individuals like Sue in order to get these deals done, and that they pay them a consulting fee, which essentially serves as a bribe to individuals like you. I mean, what would you say to
I
that?
don't know, because again, that's all. You're building everything on what you have met and what people told you. I don't know. I can't comment on some anonymous manager now telling you something.
I mean, these are individuals who have significant business interests in this country. So
why do you think, yes, but why do you think?
So many people are telling us one thing about, you know, this is the way that deals get done.
But it
I'm wondering what your take is.
you know, when the reporters come from abroad, this is their catch you kind of thing. They always want to make a developing country leader look corrupt. So you've done your bit.
Will you investigate at least, you know, these things?
No, definitely. I'm going to ask about all of this, but I can't comment reasonably. How can I comment on these issues?
And the same thing has been happening in Jamaica. I saw a video recently where a garage was shut down, or a mechanic shop was shut down by the people of Jamaica because they started demonstrating as well. This mechanic shop was apparently just set up overnight by some Chinese people. And no one knew how they get their license, who are these people working here, are they legal, are they illegal? All they knew is these people set up shop and they were getting all the business.
Long line.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is aware of the public concerns surrounding the employment status of several Chinese nationals reportedly engaged as mechanics in Jamaica.
So the Jamaican government is now probing the Chinese mechanic shop, WH Car Service in Ferrypen, St. Andrew, where there has been much social media fanfare in the past few weeks. So viral has the popular mechanic shop gone on social media that there have been hundreds of customers lining up before the crack of dawn to get their vehicles serviced. However, news broke yesterday from Nationwide News that the Chinese mechanics at the popular shop have no work permits.
So they were taking the business away from the locals, because what's going to happen? The Chinese have access to importing more things from their country, right, into Jamaica. So their prices are going to be lower than the regular Jamaican guy who is doing his little mom and pop his mechanic store. So who are the locals going to go to get their car fixed? The person who is doing it for the cheapest price. This is how things operate, okay? So there were long lines at this mechanic shop, and a lot of Jamaicans started questioning this. Who are these people? When did they come in and set up this shop? Now the shop is closed. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys, that a lot of government officials are taking bribes underneath the table. Similar has happened in the Bahamas as well, with the Bahama Hotel, where I allegedly heard that bribes were taken as well, given to a Chinese company, and they apparently took the Bahama away from another developer. That developer has now sued the Chinese company in court in New York City, and he has won his case. So you see, there was some corruption there. Every country you go to, even in Africa, listen, why do you think these Chinese are going to the Caribbean? They're going to Africa. They're going to all these other little places where they can manipulate people. How is it that they can't come to places like America and do this? Because they can't manipulate anyone. But the other small countries, okay, they can do that. Or countries where, you know, people are easier to take bribes because of the poverty levels in these countries. They can buy their way in there, and that's what they're doing. So Guyana is not just doing all of this because of Adrianna. They are doing this because they wanted to do this a long time ago. This is the opportunity that they were waiting on, to literally demolish these Chinese stores, to literally, you know, demolish all these buildings, to literally vent their frustration of what they have been feeling for all these years. Now this is the opportunity for them. It's not just about Adrianna. I don't think that Adrianna's family will agree with them burning down the hospital and all these kind of stuff. No, they would not. They would not. But guys, a lot is happening in Guyana. Like I said, I think flights are canceled going there. I don't know. I'm not on the ground, so I don't know, guys. If you're Guyanese and you're watching this, don't come for me to say this is misinformation. I would rather you correct me in the comment section tactfully, because if you attacked me and come for me, then I'm going to respond in kind. Okay? But it is a sad situation. Many people are asking, was she drowned somewhere else and then dumped into the pool? And that is a possibility. But even if the pathologists say, hey, the water is the same as the pool, what are people going to say? People are going to say, okay, they went into the pool, they got water from the pool, and they drowned her with that water in the room, and then they took her back from the room and put her back into the pool. So at this point, nothing that the pathologists say will ever be sufficient or, you know, for people to believe. Nothing that the pathologists say will the public believe or be sufficient. Nothing. No, you know, when you lose a child, it's hard, and I completely understand what the family is going through. I completely understand, but do you go ahead and demolish the whole country? You know, how are you going to benefit from that in the long run? Is this really justice, or is it just people taking out their frustration on the current government? Tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. It's a lot happening in Guyana. It is a lot, and I do feel sorry for the family. I don't know if at any time this is going to stop, or what is it going to take for it to cease, but a lot has been happening in Guyana. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Tell me if you believe what the pathologists have been saying, or the conclusion to this drowning. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Are there findings? Tell me if you believe their findings. You know, remember, these are international people, it's not local people, and these people were at the expense of the government brought in for the family. So it's not like these are local people, all right? So it is a possibility. I don't know. It's a possibility that she was drowned and they just didn't find her. They did not. I didn't see any divers in the pool. I said that. Did you deep dive in the pool? You can't go swim in the pool searching. She's at the bottom if she's drowned. So, you know, the family should also take responsibility for not monitoring their child. Yes. Also, there is something that I saw that really angered me. There is someone who said yesterday or a couple of days ago, a man attacked 3 children, 3 Indian children walking on the streets, just threw acid on these kids because they are apparently maybe associated with the owner of the hotel. So anyone who is associated with the owner of the hotel is in fear of their lives. This is one of the reasons why the attorney reading the pathologist report was afraid, because he was afraid to even give this message to the people, because his life will be in danger just for reading it. His family life will be in danger. So I saw the picture of where they asked 3 children. Come on, man, that is going too far. That is going completely too far. That is too much at this point. Y'all doing too much, Guyana. Y'all are doing too much. Children are innocent. I don't care who their parents are, but they are innocent. I am sorry. They're innocent in all of this. I don't know. I don't think these are kids who are related. I don't know if the kids are related to the owners of the hotel or what, but all I saw was all their face all messed up from someone throwing at these children. Now this has become a racial issue. Is it? Or, you know, if you're affiliated with someone, we're going to get you as well. If you're affiliated with the hotel workers, we're going to get you.
Yesterday afternoon, these 3 kids that are attending Chateau Margaret Primary School, they left school. While walking, going home, 2 men on a motorbike pulled up. And these little children, and also their teacher, who's a parent, 2 teachers as a matter of fact. I want to make it clear that this is utterly unacceptable for persons to harm our children. We need to put a stop to this nonsense. Our children are the future of this country. As a matter of fact, we're not supposed to harm anyone. I hope the Guyana Police Force can find the perpetrators and bring justice to these and their parents. Just last week, we lost 11-year-old Adrianna Younge. The whole country is mourning for her. Yet, persons are taking advantage of the situation. They are going and create havoc, looting, going into person places, breaking their places, their hard-earned possession. Come on, man, as a nation we cannot do these things. After all, we are one people, one nation, one destiny. Please.
It's too much. It's doing too much. I'm sorry. I don't care who is upset at me. But children are innocent. You can't bring that back. her life back by, you know, hurting other children. I'm sorry. Go after the adults. Don't go after the kids. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. It's going too far, man. So tell me what you think in the comment section. This is truly heartbreaking what's going on in Guyana. And I really hope that at sometime soon they will find peace. The family of Adrianna Younge will find peace. Truly, truly, truly hope that this happens. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video and share this video if you feel like it. Okay, see you in my next one. Bye-bye.